How to build a super easy gunpowder farm in Minecraft. These are the resources you will need for this farm. So the first step to this creeper farm is to find yourself a suitable location to build it. Now I would recommend building it out in the ocean simply because it will increase the spawn rates in the farm, which is what I will be doing in this tutorial. But of course you can build this pretty much anywhere, even on land if you want to, but I prefer to build these type of farms out in the ocean. So anyways, for this tutorial I'm going to be building this farm about 100 blocks above the ocean level just to make this farm as best as possible, so let's do that. So anyways, after you find yourself somewhere to build it, you will need to place yourself out a double chest just like this, which will be where the items will be collected. Then you will need to run 6 hoppers going into that double chest just like this. Then after you've done that, on top of the first hoppers we placed, you will need to place 2 blocks just like this, and then you will need to build a small wall of blocks going around the 2 or 4 hoppers pretty much that are in the back of the farm. Then inside this little room you will need to place a minimum of 1 hopper minecart, but you can place anywhere up to 4, so I'm simply going to do that. 1, and then I'm going to destroy the railing. Boom. So anyways, I'm just going to use 2 for now because 2 is honestly enough, and you can even use 1, and you don't need to destroy the railings unless you want to. So anyways, after you've gotten the hopper minecarts inside of here, you will need to expand this wall up by 1 more block and then also block it off just like this. Then the next step here will be to build a Trident killer. Now you don't need to use Trident killer, you can even just use something like campfires. So anyways, simply place yourself a piston right here with then a redstone torch to the left of the piston, with then an observer with a little red eye facing away from the redstone torch. Then right here place yourself another piston and basically just do the same thing over. So redstone torch on top of the piston, an observer looking with a little face towards the redstone torch just like this, and a little eye looking outwards, or the red eye. Piston here, redstone torch, observer, piston, redstone torch, observer, just like that. Then after you've done that, to make sure this works, you will need to place yourself out the lever on top of this piston, and then you flick it once. This should kind of, go on and off once, and then if you flick it off again, this should just start going constantly, just like that, which means that this is working. So you can simply turn this off for now. Then after you've done that, you will need to build walls that are about 15 blocks high up, going all around this kind of area up in the sky. So simply on top of all the pistons and observers, build yourself 15 blocks up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So anyways, after you've done that, what you can also do is simply destroy a few of these blocks and then throw a trident on top of one of these observers. Sorry, I mean pistons, just like this, because if we then flick on the trident will start going in a circle just like this, which will help kill the creepers. Also, if you want to be able to see the creepers being killed, you can also place some glass here, because that will not change how the farm works. Then anyways, after you've done that, you will need to place yourself 1 block in each of the corners, just like this. Then after you've done that, you will need to head into one of the corners of the farm, which for example right here, and then build 7 blocks going outwards. So 1, 2, 3, boom, 7. Then do the same on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then simply do the same on this side, that side, and that side, and yeah. And then lastly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So anyways, after you've done that, you will need to fill in all of this with blocks. So simply link up all of these kind of pillars, things we have built going outward, and then basically fill everything in with blocks. Okay, so after you've done that, you should have something looking like this. So the next step is then to head into one of the corners, place a temporary block right here, then place 1 block going outwards, then destroy the temporary block, and then simply build a wall going around the platform just like this. Okay, so after you've done that, you will need to expand this wall by 1 more block upwards, but don't use normal blocks, you will need to use staircases, so simply do that. So anyways, after you've done that, you will need to waterlock all these staircases by simply placing water inside each of them, because the water will flow towards the middle, which will help push the creepers inside. Now of course this is going to require quite a few water buckets. I would recommend that you build something like this and make yourself an infinity water source, which you do by making a 2x2 room, placing water source in each corner, and now you pretty much have infinity amount of water. Then simply build something like this if you don't have that many buckets, and then simply waterlock all the staircases. Alright, so if you have done this correctly so far and waterlocked all this correctly, if you want to jump anywhere right here, you would slowly push towards the middle right here and then pushed into this room. Okay, so the next step is then to head into one of the corners of the farm, and what we will need to do now is start building the spawn platforms that the creepers are going to spawn on. So to build that correctly, you will need to head into one of the corners right here, and then from this block right here you will need to count kind of 1 more block diagonally going towards the farm, so pretty much 1, and then on this block you will need to build 4 blocks going upwards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can destroy the 3 bottom blocks. So anyways, after you've done that, you will need to head to the left side of what you've built so far, so over here, and then do something similar but a little bit different. So you will need to count 1 block going diagonally in and then go on to the right, so 1 right here, and then go over here, so 1 block to the right, and then simply build yourself 4 blocks going upwards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can destroy the bottom blocks. Then after you've done that, basically go from this block to the other side right here, and in the corner right here count 2 blocks going diagonally in towards the middle, so 1, 2, then build 3 blocks going upwards, so 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, then destroy the bottom blocks just like this. Also, if you stand right here, this block should kind of link up with that block just like that. Then always in the last corner here, you will need to go to the corner, pretty much count 1 diagonal block going outwards, so 1, then go on to the left, 1, and then simply build 4 blocks upwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, then destroy the 3 bottom blocks, and as you see, this should pretty much be linked up with 2 other blocks just like that. Then after you've done that, you can connect all of these blocks with one simple block line just like this. Okay, so after you've done that, you should have something looking like this, and what you will need to do now is pretty much anywhere inside this circle, you will need to build kind of strips of blocks going from one side to the other just like this. So what you will need to have is kind of the corner wall right here, and then an empty space, kind of long empty line right here, with then another row of blocks just like this, and you will need to continue this until you get to the other side. Simply build blocks right here, leave an empty space right here, then a row of blocks right here. So simply just do this until you get to the other side. Anyways, after you've done this, you will need to do kind of the same thing but from the other side. So then simply turn to the other side just like this, and then basically there will obviously be the kind of outside line block right here. So simply leave an empty space right here and then place a block right there, and then just continue this all the way to the end. So leave an empty block right here, block, empty block, block, leave an empty block here, then place a block right here, and then just do this until you get to the end, and then you should have something looking like this. So what you will need to do now is pretty much just copy this in the rest of these kind of empty lines, so then just do that. So anyways, what you will need to do now is place some open trapdoors inside all of the holes that we have inside the farm right here. So simply place a trapdoor right here and then make sure to open it. So simply then just build trapdoors inside each of these holes. Okay, so after you've done that, you will need to pretty much do the same thing on the outside of the platform. So simply build a long line of trapdoors going all around the platform we have built so far. Okay, so after you've done that, you should have something looking like this. And now what we're gonna need to do is basically do something on this platform which will prevent mobs from zombies and skeletons to spawn, and we will make sure that only creepers can spawn inside this farm. So to do that, you will need to head into the corner of this farm, place a button right here, then leave an empty space right here, place another button, empty space button, empty space button, and to show you how we will continue this, you will simply leave an empty space here to place a button right here, empty space here, button here, empty space there, button there. So what it would have at the end is something looking like this, but of course on a bigger scale. So then simply do that, and yeah. Okay, so after you've done that, we're almost done with the first platform, but before we're done with this, we're gonna need to place trapdoors kind of 2 blocks above the empty areas right here, just like this, so only creepers can spawn under here. But to do this in the most easiest way, what you will need to do now is pretty much take what we have built so far and then copy it 2 blocks above what we have already built. What you can do is simply place a block in the corner above the button, and then simply start a new platform right above here, and basically just copy and paste what you have, you know, this platform on this level. So then simply do that, and yeah. Okay, so we are pretty much done with the second platform, and we're not done with the first one yet, but if you've done this correctly, you should have something looking like this. Oh, I did a mistake here, and I quickly want to fix that, and that is to say that these trapdoors that are right here will need to be in the same placement as the one under here. Now this is to make sure the creepers don't, you know, walk off here and then simply fall into the top platform that's right here, or on top of this trapdoor and continue walking. So to make this farm as best as possible, these trapdoors should be on the same kind of side as these ones, so simply keep that in mind while you are building this. I forgot that quickly, so I apologize about that, but keep that in mind. But anyways, after you've done that, you will need to head to the bottom platform because we still have one more step. If you don't know, zombies and skeletons and pretty much any 2-block tall mobs will still be able to spawn in these areas. So to fix that, you will simply place a trapdoor right here, which will prevent zombies and skeletons from spawning here. So then the next step to make sure only creepers can spawn here is that pretty much above every block that doesn't have anything on them, you will need to place yourself out a trapdoor just like this. Alright, so after you've done that, you should have something looking like this, which is pretty much a trapdoor above every area that doesn't have a button on it, or every block that doesn't have a button on it. So if you stand on a block that has, you know, no button on it, look up, you would see a trapdoor. So after you've done that, you will need to copy kind of pretty much what you've done so far a few more times. Now I want to say that this is technically enough for this farm. If you don't want to build more platforms, you don't have to, and you can simply skip to the end where we will be building the roof to make sure that creepers can spawn during daytime. But I would recommend building at least 2 more of these, so you will have a total of 4 platforms just to make this farm as best as possible. But in this one, I'm going to be building 6 because that's kind of the limit of how good this farm could be. So I will be building 6 simply to make this farm as best as possible. So anyways, if you want to build 6, follow with what I'm doing and build this pretty much 6 more times, pretty much this platform 6 more times above each other, but you know, do whatever you want. So anyways, let me do that and I'll show you how it is just to make sure you understand. Okay, so if you want to build or have built 6 platforms, you will have something looking like this, which is pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 platforms. And of course you will need to do something similar on the top right here, but only using the trapdoors we have under here to make sure that only creepers can spawn. So I will quickly show you how to do that, and then the farm is almost done. Now I also want to say that if you only build, for example, 2 or 3 platforms, you will still need to do the step that I'm doing right now. So simply follow with what I'm doing right now. So in the corner right here, you'll need to place 1 temporary block going upwards. Then on top of that block, you will need to place 1 more block. Then you can destroy the bottom block. Then you will pretty much need to go 1 to the left, so you will have a block 2 blocks above every empty space, just like this. And then you will need to place a trapdoor right here, and then you can simply destroy these blocks. So you will need to do this process with pretty much every area right here that does not have a block. Sorry, I mean a button on it. So that would pretty much be right here, right here, right here, etc, etc. So the best way you can do this is simply by placing a block right there, and then expand a block line just like this, and under every block that doesn't have, you know, a button on it, simply just place a trapdoor just like this. It's fairly easy, it doesn't take too long. So then simply do this with this whole platform right here, and yeah. Alright, so if you have done what I just said correctly, you should have something looking like this, which is pretty much a trapdoor above every empty area that does not have a block on it, just like this, sorry, a button on it, which means that creepers will only be able to spawn, you know, on this block, for example, instead of zombies and skeletons, which is of course what we want in this farm. So yeah, that means we are almost done. But of course we have one more important step to do, and because of this farm where it is, during the daytime creepers will not be able to spawn on here. Why? Well, because, you know, of the sun. So how we're going to fix that is by building a small roof right above the farm, which we will do right now. So what you will need to do to build a roof is pretty much place a block on top of the corner trapdoor right here, build this 1 more going outwards, so you have a block right here, then expand this by about 7 more blocks going upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you can destroy the bottom blocks. And then what you will need to do is place a trapdoor, or slab, I mean, sorry, on top of that block, then you can destroy the bottom block again. And then what you will need to do is expand this slab by 8 blocks going out in, well, pretty much away from the farm, so in this direction and that direction. So then do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you will pretty much need to do the same in this side. So place a block right here, or all other sides block out. Build the 7 more blocks going outwards, or upwards, I mean. Then place a slab on top of that block, and then 8 more slabs going out from that block. So simply do that in all of the corners. And after you've done that, you will also need to link up all the slabs together and pretty much just fill in the whole empty space. So anyways, let's do that. Alright, so after you've done that, you should have a massive roof above the farm looking like this. Now I also quickly want to say that I did not include these items in the resource list, but to make this even more darker because light can shine through a slab, I would also recommend that under the slabs you have originally placed, you build a big kind of block line or whatever under the whole roof, or under all the slabs you have placed, simply to make this even darker, because a bit of light can shine through the slabs. Now by doing this, you will make the farm even darker, which will of course, you know, make the spawn rates even better in the farm. So I would recommend that you do this to make the farm as best as possible. Alright, so now the farm is pretty much done, and this is what it should look like at the end. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this one. So anyways, to show you how this works is that you will pretty much jump down here, and to use this farm you will simply flick on this lever, and then the Trident killer will start flicking on and off, or basically moving like this, which means that whenever a creeper spawns on top of the farm, they will be pushed into here by the water, then they will be killed by the Trident. Now I also want to say that if you're using a Trident killer, you can get up to 3 times the amount of resources if you simply flick on the lever using a Looting 3 sword, which of course will make this farm even better than it already is. So anyways, that is it for this one, and I hope you find this helpful. If you have any questions about how this works or anything like that, feel free to comment them and I'll answer your questions right away. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.